All right, welcome back, folks. My phone actually overheated during the last stream that we started about 40 minutes ago, so I apologize. If you're tuning into this one, we are out here this very hot and humid Friday afternoon, July 28th, 2023, and we are looking at a potential enhanced risk of severe weather as outlined by the Storm Prediction Center. Greatest threat will be straight line winds, followed by a threat of hail and a very, very low tornado potential, likely the sort of tornado that would form in the Boeing segments out ahead of the what we would call QLCS type storms. So, but we're hoping to catch some severe weather, maybe a broad shelf cloud and some very gusty winds. Well, hoping that this live stream this phone can keep up with the heat. Temperatures around 100 degrees. Dew points are actually in the upper 70s to 80, maybe even over 80 degrees, which is very oppressive. So we're going to see what's happening. Looking at satellite, you can see just these tiny, tiny little cumulus clouds out ahead of us. Really, they have not done much in the last hour, just kind of floating on by. There is a storm that popped over the Iowa-Nebraska border north of Omaha that may have a potential to make its way here into west central Iowa. So I think what we're going to do is take a look at that and maybe head towards Carroll and Denison around there in western Iowa. Right now we are outside of Huxley, which is between Des Moines and Ames. So we are well positioned to go towards that target or the one to our north here. So the swath of the enhanced risk basically stretches from Siouxland all the way past Chicago into the extreme northeast corner of Indiana. So what does develop may continue to grow and expand and feed off all this heat and energy that's in the atmosphere. Southwest Iowa has had readings of 8,000 joules per kilogram of potential convective energy, or the CAPE as it's referred to. So a lot of energy for storms that do develop to feed off of. Current time is 4:20 and no watches yet. We are under an excessive heat warning, and I can confirm it's very hot out. So it's the first time I've ever had my phone quit on me because it was too hot. I'm not even in the sun. We will get back on I-35 north a bit and then probably head west on Highway 30. So welcome. It's been a while. Iowa hasn't had much in the way of severe weather for over a month, and that's on top of an already very quiet June and May. June, typically the highest occurrence for tornadoes in the state of Iowa. I believe we ended up with one. That was well after sunset and practically in Illinois. So I don't think we've had any in July either. So May had some kind of puny, weak little ones. Was it the 13th? So very quiet severe weather season here in Iowa. That big tornado back March 31st, that F4, EF4 down around Kyoto. We get a little bit of an uptick in the second season, which can kind of come about in late September through early November. And November is the only month left that I have not chased in Iowa or anywhere. This year I was able to cross off January with the tornado that occurred near Williamsburg. And then I did go on a chase on Valentine's Day in southwest Iowa, Nebraska. Didn't really amount to anything, but that leaves me with November as the only month I have not chased in. The gas station I was just at was super busy. As you can see, a lot of blue sky, a lot of sunshine, destabilizing that air, causing it to rise. We just need a little trigger to get that rising air to become a little more aggressive. Meteorologist that I follow made the observation that the air is so warm here and a little bit higher up in the atmosphere that it really can cut down on the hail potential, just because it will melt before it reaches the earth. So we're primarily looking at large bow echo type storms with hopefully a nice shelf cloud out ahead of them, and experience some very strong straight line winds. Hello, Marilyn. Thanks for hanging out today. Hopefully we'll have a little more action later. It might be a little bit. But this is true storm chasing. A whole lot of driving. Oftentimes pretty uneventful skies. And this is just a local chase for me. This isn't going out to Kansas or Oklahoma or Wyoming where you basically leave when it's still dark out. Passing through the little city of Ames, Iowa, home of the Iowa State Cyclones, which has a great meteorology program, atmospheric sciences. They're working on getting a grant to build a much larger wind simulator to simulate tornadoes and their effect on buildings. I was trying to solicit some information from one of the professors about a project I wanted to work on this year that ultimately kind of fell through, but very appreciative to at least get their time of day and a response and their insight. I got some feedback from some other scientists, some quite well known for their study of tornadoes, so that was pretty cool. Pretty hot out. I do have the fan going on the windshield, so hopefully that helps. Since there hasn't been any storm chasing, I've made a personal choice 15 days ago now to give up pop and other sugary fluids. So in an effort to not be so dependent on soda, in particular Pepsi, is my poison of choice, I guess you could say. So the cravings will certainly start to kick in, being this the first storm chase since I've given it up. So we're heading west mostly for a storm that popped up near Blair, Nebraska, just over the Iowa-Nebraska border north of Omaha. Some models are indicating either that storm traversing here towards west central Iowa or other storms developing here along 80, Highway 30 in that corridor. For days, the anticipation has been the storms developing farther north along the Iowa-Minnesota border and moving east, which they may also still do. When given a choice, I like to go after a more discrete storm as opposed to lines. May not amount to anything different, but that's sort of my approach to today. I was thinking about it this morning. The very first live stream I did was last December during our blizzard, and I was out documenting wind chills that were negative 35, negative 38 degrees. And here we are 8 months later, practically in the same area, and we have heat indices above 110. So if you're not from Iowa, that's just how extreme our weather is. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. I'll try to catch them as I'm driving here. It's a little more difficult right now looking towards the sun, but I'll try my best. If you're a regular on this channel, welcome back. Great to have all of you along with me here. And if you're brand new, my name's Clarence Smith, storm chaser of, at least by vehicle, 20 plus years. If you include a bicycle, more like 26 years. So been doing this my whole life. Clouds are thickening up a little bit here. We're in Boone County. We're in an area where dew points are now 80 or above degrees Fahrenheit, which is tropical or beyond. Funny enough, the highest dew point ever recorded in the United States was, I believe, in central Wisconsin. I can't remember what it was, if it was like 86 or 89 degrees Fahrenheit. 86 seems like it'd be more common. I have to look that up, or maybe one of you can look that up. And I think the highest dew point ever recorded in the world was in the Middle East, in a desert country. I don't know if it was the United Arab Emirates or somewhere around there. We're passing through the southern part of Boone, Iowa. They're known mostly for the railroad that goes through here. They have a dinner car that's in operation still. Appreciate all the likes we've gotten. Every little like and comment and subscription really helps the channel. Because of our kind of lacking severe weather up in this neck of the woods this year, really haven't had a whole lot of content. I'm not a full-time chaser, so I can't really commit as many days as I would like going down south. Crossing the Des Moines River here, which looks pretty low. Those sand dunes, or technical term alluvial deposits, stretching across most of the river there. Chevy here can't make up its mind how fast it wants to go. Maybe it doesn't like the idea of being passed by a Ford. In case you're just joining, we are heading west on Highway 30. We're in Boone County, Iowa. And these cumulus clouds are really starting to thicken up here even in the last 10 minutes. We were looking at blue skies just a little bit ago. But that's the power of all this energy. It can just happen the snap of a finger. You can go from cute little puffy cloud to severe thunderstorm in 20 minutes. Chasing very light today. I don't have my usual camera bag and DSLRs with me. Basically just this, my regular everyday carry iPhone that we're streaming on, and then another iPhone for doing handheld video. I don't even have the dash mount set up. Just kind of taking it easy. Simplifying our chase today. I do have my late father's SLR 35mm film camera with me, just in case. Got about 10 exposures left on there that I want to use up. My goal this year was to photograph a tornado on film, and the best opportunity I had, I forgot about it because I was running two other cameras, one for video, one for still photography, and was completely spaced out on the film one. So there's still time for the second season to produce, but odds are pretty low we'll accomplish that goal this year. So hopefully the data stream holds out. Once we get off this highway, that becomes very questionable, so I do apologize if we lose the stream or it's buffering a lot or cutting in and out a lot. I haven't decided what I want to do for next year, if I want to invest in live streaming or just having a very immediate post-event content. Obviously, a lot of you are here interested in live streaming, and there have been quite a few storm chasers that have proven that demand there is certainly strong. But I'm also one to really want to deliver the best quality, and just limitations with YouTube and your cell signal, live streaming just isn't always the best. I think it's the best way to go for blizzards and winter storms, because the immediacy is a little more important there, and I don't know how exciting it is to watch snowfall after it's happened, but tornadoes, they're a little more exciting. Yeah, these clouds are really thickening up. I'm just looking out the driver's side window here, and they're getting a little bit of elevation to them. know if we want to go too much farther west yet. There's a little roadside park here. Take a moment here and check the satellite, see what's going on. May be difficult for you to see, with the reflection there. Basically on your lower left, there's a pretty big cumulonimbus cloud that's formed in Nebraska. And then center, you can see that brighter white cloud with the shadow. That's actually to our northeast a little bit. I could take 169 north up towards Fort Dodge. There's a little bit of a very small young thunderhead forming there, I can see. But if you draw a line from I'd say roughly Fort Dodge to north of Omaha, that's kind of our trigger area. Which may include what we're looking at right ahead of us. The one in Omaha is severe thunderstorm warned until 4:50, or sorry, till 5:30. 60 mile per hour winds and quarter-sized hail expected with that one. This little tower I'm looking at appears to be near Humboldt in north central Iowa. It's not very much to look at on radar just yet, but if you guys can, it's hard with this reflection, I apologize. Yeah, never mind. Well, even in the time that we've been parked here, if you look right above that cell phone tower, that cumulus has grown vertical. So things are starting to pop. And right on cue, severe thunderstorm watch has been issued.
The National Weather Service has issued severe thunderstorm watch number 560, effective until midnight Saturday. This watch includes the following counties in Iowa: Adair, Boone, Dallas, Greene, Guthrie, Jasper, Madison, Polk, Story, and Warren. Remember, a severe thunderstorm watch means the conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including large hail and damaging winds in and close to the watch area. While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, commercial radio.
Well, there you have it. You can see that tower right in front of us, just growing right above the cell phone tower, if you can make it out. It's like a slow motion atom bomb going off with all this available energy in the atmosphere. It's not that far off. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen Oppenheimer, if you enjoy science at all, I'd definitely recommend it. And even if you don't, it's a good movie. Christopher Nolan took what could for some be a very boring subject and dialogue and actually made it pretty intense. So you can see on camera, this will be a good measure for you. The top of that cumulus tower is just now touching the electrical line. And you can see it start to grow above that point. Is now touching the top line and will very quickly be past that point. Unfortunately, the app that I stream with, the YouTube app, doesn't allow me to zoom in here, but part of the effect is those clouds are moving closer to us, but really it's largely that it is growing vertically. You see it turning into that even more of a pronounced mushroom cloud right now. These updrafts are actually, for me personally, one of my favorite things about storm chasing is just watching them accelerate and grow upwards like this. It won't win you any photography awards, but I think it's pretty cool. So sometimes they can outdo themselves, and the top of that updraft becomes an orphan. Basically, it's either the updraft wasn't sustained or gets sheared off, and as I like to say, it just kind of gets decapitated. So the stem of this one, if you look, is getting pretty narrow. Hopefully it can sustain itself. Narrow, but it's holding on. It's still connected. So an update on the storm in Nebraska. It's actually drifting southeast, so will likely impact Omaha in the next hour. Slow moving. Looks like a lot of heavy rain and hail. So I imagine some street flooding will come out of that. little cell that I mentioned was near Humboldt has weakened. I'm a little concerned about the health of this little tower that's popped up ahead of us. So the severe thunderstorm watch that was issued basically extends from La Crosse, Wisconsin down to Lincoln, Nebraska. So pretty wide watch. We are essentially dead center in it right now. So they're giving this watch a 60% chance of 10 or more severe wind events and a moderate 40% chance of one or more wind events greater than 65 knots, which I think is that's probably the severe limit of, well, somewhere in the 50-mile-per-hour range, I think. Don't quote me on that. There's also a moderate risk for severe hail, including hail greater than 2 inches. Well, unfortunately, it looks like this updraft is becoming orphaned. There is another smaller one forming right on its heels. They are going full bore, and it is still hot in here. Certainly sweating everywhere. If you're just joining us, we are right along Highway 30 between Boone and Carroll, Iowa. We're into severe thunderstorm watch, and we're just kind of watching these clouds initiate. We had one that looked promising, but has since become decapitated. There's a non-warned cell to our northeast near Mason City, and the only warning currently is near Omaha of a storm that's moving southeast, which will be out of range for us. So we're keeping an eye on here, kind of in the middle for initiation. Move here and take a peek behind these trees. See what these clouds are doing. Month and a half from now, and these soybeans will be turning yellow. We're gonna have farmers start harvesting their crops. Maybe sooner if we don't get any rain. I don't know if these, I kind of doubt it now. We're getting kind of late in the day for these storms to develop and grow upscale and have enough time in the daylight essentially to go to the distance they would need to become a derecho. But these storms should form into a bow-like structure that leads to some strong, very strong straight line winds out ahead of the storms. The temp has gone down a little bit. The truck says 93 degrees here. So we are away from the interstate and the cities now, which helps, and it's getting a little bit later in the day. Sunset days are getting a little bit shorter, obviously. I looked, I think we're looking at 8:26. So it's kind of sad because that means about 3 weeks from now we'll be having our sunset before 8 o'clock. but I do love fall, so I'm ready for some cooler temperatures and some fall colors and Halloween, all that stuff. Every year I can't decide if it's October, that's my favorite month, or May. I might give October the slight edge because it also can have some severe weather like May does, in addition to all the other seasonal things. Not a lot of vertical growth with these clouds we're watching right now. Some minor attempts of an updraft looking west here, nothing too special. A few more scattered heavy showers up around Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, my hometown of Waverly, Shell Rock, to be specific. And we have that one cell just north of Highway 3 between Dow's and Mason City. There's a good amount of lightning with it. There you can see. It's about 60 miles away. Trying to decide if that's something I should go after or hold out for something developing closer to here. Say 7 out of 10 chases, you always come across a decision like this, where it's one thing or another and you can't do both. Decisions. So this is how the HRRR model is depicting the weather, the radar I should say, a couple hours from now. So that would put us really right in the crosshairs of that strongest cell, right where we're setting basically. So how well do you trust the models? I usually don't put a whole lot of stock in them personally, but sometimes they are scary accurate. This is your first time here. My name's Clarence, storm chaser of over 2 decades. Started this YouTube channel, what was it, now 4 years ago? And only started doing live streams here beginning this last December. When it was about 110 degrees colder. We had temperatures that the high didn't get above like -7 during that blizzard last December. But I appreciate you hanging out with me here on this early stage chase. Just kind of in a holding pattern here, waiting for these cells to develop. Grasshoppers look plentiful out here in drought-stricken Iowa. There's a nice little tower back to our northeast. Terribly high, but looks healthy. Not quite ready to bite on that one yet, though. Get out of the sun here a little bit. We have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings now for if you look at these 2, if you can make them out distinctly, these 2 storms, this one for sure has a severe thunderstorm warning. I believe that is the one that is near Franklin County, between Hampton and Iowa Falls. And then there's another one further to the north, which may be obscured. I think this cloud, this cumulonimbus, is a small cell that's just developed in Webster County. So that might be worth taking a look at a little more up close. Just taking a moment to analyze the satellite here. one thing that you have to consider is the storm that's been going on in Nebraska for a while now. It's Anvil, it's high cirrus is now affecting basically even though we're nearing the end of the day and there's still plenty of energy, it may not matter, is impacting sunlight reaching the surface here in west central Iowa. So that may potentially limit initiation closer to where we are. Well, it's easier to go north and then dip back south if you have to, so we're on Highway 169 going north now. Welcome anyone that's just joining us. So we are out chasing in central Iowa, where we are under a severe thunderstorm watch. Pretty low tornado risk, but we're looking at potential bowing segments, linear storms producing strong straight line winds and a hail potential. We're under a moderate risk for hail is greater than 2 inches in diameter. Hail will be a greater threat here in these early stages, but as the storms progress and pick up speed, I think you'll see less of a hail threat and a greater wind threat. There are 2 severe thunderstorm warnings for cells that are about 50 miles now to our northeast. I think they're a little out of my range for today. I'm looking for this cell closer to us to strengthen, and there was another tower that has reemerged just to our west, southwest, where we had watched one explode about 40 minutes ago and then die off. But this one does look a little more stout. So I may, yeah, it's got a, blowing over my left shoulder is looking pretty good. The backside of this storm, though, looks very compact, very strong. Sign of a good updraft here. I know cell service is pretty good up here where we're headed because I spent time in these counties during the blizzard that we had in December, so this is a beautiful looking updraft here. Very clean, very crisp. Very vertical too. Is a beautiful storm, folks. You don't get that too often where it's such a clean view on the backside. Very robust updraft. Gonna regret not bringing my DSLR with me. Just kind of wanted to chase light today, but that is a good looking storm. To stop for a photo here amongst the tall corn. a photo again here. There we go. Oh, Willard Sharp, fellow storm chaser, just tweeted a tornado on the ground near Pope Joy, Iowa, just a couple minutes ago. That is near Iowa Falls and Hampton. Tons of lightning with that storm too. So good for him. Someone check on me.
Everything
Hi.
okay?
Yeah, thanks for checking on me. I'm just a storm chaser,
Oh,
taking photos here.
all right. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry to inconvenience you.
No. I didn't know if you had trouble.
Sure.
As hot as it is.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Some shit coming.
Well, not this storm, but another one further northeast just had a tornado warning. Small tornado, but I don't know about right here. It may be further east now at this point, but that's developing in this, and we'll kind of.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty strong,
Yeah.
pretty robust.
So is that what going across what?
That would be near Webster City,
Okay.
going across I-35
They don't
before
slow
long.
down much, do they?
This time of year they're kind of slow.
No, but I mean the
Oh,
cars,
people. Yeah. Nope.
They're pricks sometimes.
Yep.
So, hey, I'm glad you didn't have trouble.
Oh, thanks for stopping.
Hey, no problem.
Good Iowa folk always checking on you. My understanding is you don't get that in every state. As I kind of hinted towards him, these storms aren't moving terribly fast, so they shouldn't be too hard to catch up to. I think the storm is pretty isolated and pretty young, and there's a chance it could do what the storm just to its northeast is doing with that little rope tornado there. It's not really in the cards for today, but if you get a discrete enough storm and the right kinematics, it can happen. You're just tuning in, we're on Highway 169 going north in the direction of Fort Dodge. We won't go that far. We're going to start cutting east a bit here. And trail this storm that's popped up. In Webster County. I appreciate any likes and comments, subscriptions. Every little bit helps out the channel and the video and helps YouTube match this content with the right people. The goal is to one day have YouTube pay for my gas while storm chasing. Alright, we're turning on to 175 going east here in Webster County. Brings back some memories. July 2021, July 14th, we had a persistent white elephant trunk drill bit tornado that started in Stratford and went west near Jewel Junction. Probably one of the best chases of my career. Not necessarily the most robust tornado, but just the path the tornado took relative to the road network just allowed for a continuous 30 some minutes of chasing as it shredded a lot of corn. Didn't cause a whole lot of damage. So a little different setup, but kind of has that feeling today a little bit. Not really a tornado day, but just the way these storms are firing and the location. But hats off to Willard Sharp in snagging that brief tornado just a few minutes ago. We can get a little look at this cell that fired up back to our south here. That will perhaps impact the northern metro area. We're driving through Dayton, Iowa at the moment. Might hold rodeos here. It's kind of cool. Always wanted to go to one, actually. See one live. Dad used to watch them on TV, but there's a storm to our south. And a storm to our north. Beautiful anvil stretching out on top there. Got a young updraft here in the back. Core of the storm not quite visible to you here. The clouds that we just looked at a little bit ago to our south actually are not even producing precipitation anymore. It's kind of surprising based on how they looked. Yeah, Iowa Falls probably has their sirens going here. They'd be in the path of any tornado that would be occurring, or very close to Iowa Falls. So if you look on screen here, the anvil, the higher portion of the storm, actually is that storm. We're just a ways back west. So we're facing east towards this supercell now. Still discrete. Wasn't really in the models for today. So we're back crossing the Des Moines River once again, in case you're with us. Nice wide look at the backside of the storm. That moments ago, if it's not currently anyway, was producing a tornado. Albeit a pretty weak looking one. Still unexpected for today. In case you're joining us here recently, we're on Highway 175 going east towards Stratford, Iowa now. Luckily the storm isn't moving terribly fast, so we may be able to intercept yet as it slides to the southeast. Hindsight, probably should have taken the bait on the storm a little earlier. I was expecting a little more development to fill in west of Des Moines. had initially started my trek up this direction, and changed course. So playing a little bit of catch up right now. But if nothing else, got some beautiful sights for sore eyes. Haven't seen hardly any storms, any rain here for quite a while in Iowa. All right, we are now in Hamilton County. Thanks for the update there, Paul. Luckily, we're in an area that's had pretty good cell signal, so I haven't, from what I can tell anyway, been cutting out too much. Cooling off just a little bit, down to 91 degrees. Once we get under the storm, we'll probably be in the upper 70s, which will feel nice. We're under, in addition to the severe thunderstorm watch, a excessive heat warning until 9 o'clock. We had dew points, at least here when I started the chase, in the low 80s in some spots, which is very impressive, very tropical. And that's what's providing fuel for the storms today. So hopefully you'll enjoy live storm chasing. I've been kind of on the fence of where to invest for next year, if it's going to be live streaming or just having very fast turnaround times post events, essentially editing and publishing in the truck as quick as possible after a chase. There's kind of pros and cons to both. If a cell signal could be more reliable and YouTube had a better app, I would probably go the live stream route without question, but Just a little too, I guess, sketchy, in my opinion. I know there are some other chasers that live stream full time, pretty much all the time, but it's a tough gig to turn a profit to make it sustainable. Not saying I won't try it one day myself, but I'm not looking for overnight success. So anyway, if you haven't already, appreciate the subscriptions and the likes, and feel free to comment. I'll try to catch them as I'm driving. Well, it was an earlier plan. There's now a severe thunderstorm warning southwest of Denison, out in western Iowa, near Nebraska. We're going to go north a little bit, and then this road will go back east towards the storm we're trying to get on. We're facing out of the sun, I can probably turn the air fan down a little bit. This is actually my second attempt at a live stream today because the first one crashed when the phone overheated. So we've been going now for over 2 hours on this stream, so was charging it when it overheated, so I'm a little worried about trying to charge it again. Maybe I can do it in very brief increments. We actually have a second tornado warning. This one for Bremer County, east of Waverly, right along Highway 3 there. It's an area I know well. I grew up in Waverly Shell Rock. So looks like there's some pretty good sized hail there. Also some hail likely ongoing east of Iowa Falls with this storm straight ahead. So if you live southwest or even in Ackley, you're likely getting some hail. Lots of lightning with this storm too. Hey, thanks, Chubbs. Thanks for joining me on this ride. If you guys get the chance later, check out my latest video. Thumbnail is titled "In the Bear's Cage." I think it's my best work yet in terms of a storm chasing video. Captured 5 tornadoes out in Wyoming late last month. So, and I did it from a perspective I usually don't chase from. So it was a pretty fun video. It was a pretty fun experience. Certainly hard to do a live stream out in Wyoming. There were points where I wasn't even getting signal to send a tweet, let alone stream high definition video. But at least for a little bit here, we should be in good shape. So we'll be crossing I-35 here, and usually signal is decent in the vicinity of the interstates. Corn's in that 6 to 8 foot stage. So unfortunately most of Iowa's in a drought, so I don't know how plump those kernels are going to be this year. We're under some cloud cover. We're finally below 90. looks like we're getting in an area that's had some precipitation now. There's a little bit of water left on the road. So we're getting closer. Turning north again, just a little bit before we turn east. These storms might begin to enter a phase as they start to congeal together into a line. They may start to pick up speed, so it may be hard to catch up to, but usually when that happens, more cells start to develop on the flanking line, and those then become your target to chase. So we're in Jewell, Iowa. Just passing through here. Smell the rain. It smells nice. It's been a little bit since we've had a good soaking. Yep. If nothing else, you guys have some pretty clouds to look at today. Little grain silos here in Ellsworth. And I-35 is what is right ahead of us here. So you could say we are now crossing into eastern Iowa. Hello, Carrie. Cedar Rapids might get into the action here in a few hours. I'd say you'd have a higher risk of storms with straight line winds. We're finally finding ourselves some dark skies here. I'm not terribly impressed how they look. They're a bit elevated, kind of smooth. So we'll see as we get closer to the core of the storm here. Could really use a car wash, so if we can accomplish that without any hail in the mix, we'll see what we can find. Nice contrast though. Part of the reason these clouds look so dark is the angle with the sun. The sun's lower and is passing through more of the clouds and thus absorbing more of the light, and they appear darker than they really are, more ominous than they should. You chase enough storms, you begin to realize how light plays tricks on you, where you could have just the absolute heaviest rain and hail be bright white and have just a little shower be the darkest dark. You know, opposite of what a lot of people think. Core of the storms are right over behind these trees, and the elevator we're coming up on up to our northeast. We are driving east, still on Highway 175 near Radcliffe. First lightning strike of the day I've seen. Yeah, that's the storm we are looking at. We're on the back side of it. Starting to get a few raindrops now. Way down to 83 degrees, which is a welcome feeling after today. Wind's picking up a little bit as well. I think we're feeling the outflow effects of this storm.
Index of 92. Storm with nothing of severe thunderstorm watch command in effect until midnight for northeastern Iowa. September, a severe once again warning still remains in effect for the river and Black County. Morrison, Lincoln, and Gladbrook.
If you guys don't have a weather radio, you really ought to get one. The one bad thing if you're mobile with one is you have to constantly change the channel that it's set to get the best local reception. So should look into whether anyone makes like an auto channel weather radio. That would be nice. case you're just tuning in, we are chasing here in central Iowa. We are near Radcliffe, going on Highway 175 east. Approaching a storm that about an hour ago produced a brief tornado. It's been tornado warned for a while. But it is starting to congeal with some other storms into a line that will push east-southeast. Michigan could be impacted probably by the morning. These storms, if they hold together, could keep a line moving through Illinois and northern Indiana and across parts of Lake Michigan. So you may have some early morning storms. That's definitely a potential. And I didn't look real close. Maybe redevelopment again tomorrow as this system moves on its way east. So a little more interesting part of the, well, of course, as we encounter some trees, but doesn't appear to have any motion to it, but just off to the driver's side here, a little more interesting clouds. More scary looking than they really are. South here, maybe. Looks like the road is closed ahead. So the tornado warning has expired. The storm's still under a severe thunderstorm warning. I'm gonna have to find a different way. right on the, basically the tail end of this storm. Literally, it looks like a tail on the western portion. And it is possible we run into some small hail here. We are on Highway 65 north of Hubbard in central Iowa. All right, we're looking at the heart of the storm, basically. You can see the very large rain shaft here to your left. Look, according to radar, you have some hail now just to our north. So we're gonna look for a southern option as soon as possible. Yes, for all you drought-stricken Iowans, here's the sound of rain. Well, we got our temperature down 70. downright freezing. We're in Iowa. Yeah, Hubbard is pretty close here. Kind of between Hubbard and Eldora. New Providence, Iowa is what the GPS says. Yeah, you could say it's the boonies. I used a very, very, very cheap drone just to practice with. It was hard to learn anything though because it kind of flew itself. It would always drift. So that is a consideration I'm looking at for next year. So new to storm change? No, I've in a four-wheel vehicle. I've been doing it for 21 years now. But my interest started a lot younger when I was in 4th grade. I think a drone would be a lot of fun. I know there's a handful of chasers that use them very well. Especially a lot of times they're chasers that chase down south in Dixie Alley where there's a whole lot of trees, and you know, sometimes that's the only way they see the tornado. So I don't know how much I would, yeah, the wind and the rain is a concern. I would probably eye the Mavic 3 Classic. I've seen some videos of it holding up pretty well in the wind. I'd honestly probably use the drone more for B-roll and establishing shots, not as often on the actual tornado per se. I kind of want to share that from, you know, the human level on the ground. I actually attempted to put together a project with other storm chasers to work as a team and try to surround a tornado and deploy multiple drones to record it from multiple angles. You know, and do it in a very calculated, precise way that scientists could use to take better measurements, especially at the surface of the tornado. But people that were initially interested in it just kind of fell off, and a lot of them had conflicting interests that they wanted to pursue, and so it just never came to fruition. So what you're looking at now is kind of a residual convection from the storm. This is on the southwest side of the storm. Kind of looks cool sometimes, but it's just very benign. Like it's very settled air. You won't get lightning. You might get a little bit of rain out of it, but it's mostly just texture. So looking at a larger picture, as you'd kind of asked, this complex of storms look to, in my opinion, definitely impact Cedar Rapids. The part of the storms that would impact you currently are not severe warned, so you might just have a And this could change because, you know, storms kind of, they're a living creature. They breathe and they exhale, and they breathe and they exhale, and they get stronger and they weaken and they get stronger again. But right now, as it would stand, it wouldn't be all that bad. Just a little flip up of gusts and some heavy rain to follow. But with that said, there's a whole lot of energy in the atmosphere today, and there's plenty of fuel for these to feed on. So they could become severe warned again without a whole lot of notice. Looking elsewhere around the state, there's still a severe thunderstorm warning near Harlan, out in western Iowa. That storm looks like it's kind of weakening though. Probably just some small hail in there. And then so I've turned around south and kind of making my way back home to Des Moines. It's 7:18 right now, so we'll probably get there right around sunset. I expect probably more storms to fire up around that time, and probably have a little bit of a stormy night overnight into the morning. So again, if you're new to the channel, appreciate thanks for the video, and if you aren't a subscriber, please consider doing that. Share with your friends, and do venture out of state. Don't really do live streams out of state, but if I catch something good, I'll edit and post it on this channel. But now we'll just kind of enjoy the other part of storm chasing, which for me is just the landscape and the travel. Getting out of the city and not really touching grass as it were, but enjoying some natural scenery. or unnatural, I guess, if of the cornfields, but yeah, there's a new severe thunderstorm warning. A line of storms that were kind of near, basically extending from I do appreciate all of you hanging out. Hope you enjoyed our trip today. Luckily, we had good signal pretty much the entire time. That doesn't happen very often. But I think I'm gonna end the stream here and just kind of enjoy the drive back home. Listen to some music that won't get me in trouble with the copyright laws, and I'll bid all of you a good night. And if a storm's coming your way, just make sure you have a good means of receiving timely warnings. YouTube is not one of those, so hopefully you have weather radar or Twitter, some way to access information from the National Weather Service. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next storm. Chase on, my friends.